the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, November 11th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Powell, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
Welcome to HomeTech Podcast, a podcast about all aspects of home technology, home automation, and Powerball tickets. I mean, this podcast isn't coming out if I win the Powerball, right? Like, it's just not. I'm not going to edit it. I'm sorry.
What's it at right now?
As long as I see $1 million in my bank account, then that's fine.
Yeah. $1.9 billion with a B.
You know what you could do with $1.9 billion?
Well, you wouldn't get the whole thing. You could take the lump payment, and I think it's basically like half of it. So, I mean, at this point, you'd basically get $1 billion. Or you can take it
only. Screw that.
Or you can take it like broken up over your lifetime, which is an awful deal in my opinion.
And then you still have to pay taxes on all the income and yada yada yada. So
just take the lump sum.
It's just a marketing thing to get you to buy a lottery ticket. But hey, best of luck to anybody who wins. I mean, I don't. That's a lot of money. just maybe a couple numbers is all I need. What do you win with a couple of numbers?
A free ticket.
It's on the website. It actually breaks it down depending on how many numbers you picked and how many are correct. I know somebody in Marysville, which isn't too far from me, just won $39 million off there. They have not come forward yet. They know the ticket was sold at a gas station, but that's it. It is a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't even know if I played this right. Because there's also, I don't even know how to play. I just went in and asked for some quick picks and they gave them to me. And that's just about all I can invest into this, learning how to play a lottery game.
That's pretty much where I'm at. Like I want to play just because it's such a high value at the moment, but I have no idea how to play. And I'm probably just going to waste my money. So I'll just wait for somebody I know to win.
Yep.
Like you, Seth.
What would you do with $1 billion?
I'd buy you a monkey. Haven't you always wanted a monkey?
That's nice.
No. I'd probably find a Control 4 integrator, have them come over and give me a quote and everything, and still talk them down in price.
Oh man,
just for the fun of it. Just for the fun of it.
So really nothing different than how any other Control 4 projects ever sold.
Well, Seth, if you win, then I know who's paying for the CD at 2023 trip. So
heck yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
Gavin and I are just gonna get a message in the morning like, tickets already booked, guys.
Yeah.
You know, if I win, then any HomeTech member, that's a patron, free. That's a free ticket to Cedia, right? Yeah,
man.
I mean,
wow.
it's $1 billion. Like,
what a great deal for all our HomeTech listeners.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly. It's only cost you $1.
Our families
too. Wow.
Don't splurge, Seth.
Hey man, families too. It's just, I mean, everybody can contribute $1. It's just $1, right? So
that's what I'm saying.
HomeTech.fm / support. What is that? What is this? Yeah.
Did you just turn the hub into like a lottery pool?
I did actually. Yeah. There's only one way to win.
For everybody that ups their thing by $1.
No. Just like, yeah, if you're in there at the time of this recording, and I won, then there you go.
Free ticket to Cedia.
Free ticket to Cedia. Yeah, we're gonna have a bash. That'll be fun. That's for sure. Yeah, we'll rent the stadium or something, right?
We'll just
There's
rent
a
the whole
stadium.
city. I mean, $1 billion would
HomeTech
rent
in the
Denver,
stadium,
right?
Yeah.
Everybody shows up for CD at 2023. They're like, sorry, you can't come in. Wait a minute, why not? Some guy won the Powerball last year. He just rented the whole thing.
Private event. Sorry, can't. Yeah. It's just I'll buy all the hotel rooms and then upsell them.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Could you buy me my Twitter blue check if you won?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh yeah, $8. Oh, I don't know. $8 is a lot of money.
I knew I was asking too much.
All right. Well, yeah. I'm glad we have realistic goals as to what we would purchase. Like tickets to Cedia and a Twitter blue check, I guess.
Pay off the house, buy a new car. Nonsense. Cedia 2023.
No. YOLO, right? Let's see. Yeah, fun stuff. Well, and also I found these deals on Black Friday too over at Target. So I'd probably buy a couple of those things. A couple of like Apple products, if you're interested in that kind of thing, are on sale. But I saw that they had some Well, Vizio Spy televisions, the Spy class TVs, $349 for a 50-inch TV. That's wild. $459 for 65-inch TV. Okay. I mean, it's going to spy on you, but it's a very cheap TV. And then Echo shows, Amazon. Let's see what else we got. Google devices on sale. Chromecast 4K on sale, $39.99. So it's 20% off. Some good stuff going on. And it's early for Black Friday. So, hey, shopping season is amongst us. So go buy things.
I mean, I'm relatively young, but I think if you would have told me like 10 years ago that you'd be able to buy a 65-inch TV, that's decent enough quality for under $500, I probably would have thought you were crazy, right? Just because TVs have always been so expensive, but now we're getting to the point now where like a good sized TV is like cheaper than a laptop or a desktop or like even a tablet, depending on what tablet you buy.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy where TVs have gotten and how good they are for the price now.
These are 4K QLEDs too. It's like, it's not a shabby TV. It's Vizio, but it's not bad.
No, and these are, honestly, these are perfect for like what I call secondary rooms, like the office or garage or basement, places where you want a TV at, but you don't need the highest end TV in the world. This is great for those kind of areas. The place you're going to watch TV all the time, buy something a little bit nicer, something you're going to be a little more happy with. But these cheap TVs are great for a multitude of reasons. So
I get one for the bathroom.
There you go.
65-inch TV in the bathroom. So.
Yeah, I have a spot for it.
Just waiting.
Just waiting. I just got to measure my distance away from the screen first.
Don't do that. Don't bother. Don't bother. It's not,
you don't need
not a requirement.
It's Black Friday. You can just return it.
Too good. All right, guys, what do you say we jump into some HomeTech headlines?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, I guess the honeymoon is over less than a week after the big Matter launch event in Amsterdam there. We've already have hit pieces coming out. Like, I can't believe it. Like the honeymoon is just, it's gone. Like there's one here. It says, let's see, here's the headline. What's the matter with Thread? Amazon says it's not quite ready for prime time. So basically during the presentation, Amazon basically said that they were not going to be launching Matter until like next year. And they won't be taking part in the initial Matter integration with their Alexa platform. It'll only support 3 device types at launch as well: plugs, switches, and light bulbs. There's also a couple of other, like we'll put in the show notes here if you want to go read them. I mean, we have to have a Matter segment every week because it's all that matters, right? But it seems like people have kind of like watched the event or went to the event and said, that's it. And then Apple, Amazon, they're not participating. They're not even going to jump in until next year sometime. So kind of crazy. What do you guys think?
I feel like we're about maybe less than a month away from the I told you so crowds. Like, that's how I feel, because ever since Matter first, came, like, was announced and everything like that, people were already bashing what it's not going to do, what it's not going to be, and over the years, all the little leaks and stuff, people are like, it's not going to be as good as we thought. And now it's actually here, and it's like, I still want to see when the devices first come out. I want to get my hands on a device, make my own judgment at this point. But these articles, we're now in the bashing article. It's clickbait in a way. Like if they have negative news sells, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean the problem is that Matter is a standard for onboarding a product, and I mean control to some respect as well. But like basically, it's like the setup and sales of a product is intimately tied with Matter, and that's really all it is. After that, you're still stuck with a device that may not be good. It may not work very well. That's not going to improve just because it's Matter certified. I don't know.
If you had a crappy switch before that was iffy, adding Matter to it's not going to make it that much better. It's still a crappy switch, just on a different network.
At this point, we should have more supported devices, right? Like, in my opinion, Matter doesn't matter at this point because it supports like 3 different device types. And if this was 10 years ago, like 3 different device types for a home automation platform, that would be great. But we're in 2022, almost 2023 now, where you can buy a hub that basically controls everything, door locks and cameras and all the other fun stuff that you normally do with a smart home. And Matter doesn't touch on any of those yet. And we know that they're planning on it. 2023, they're going to release an update that'll probably get pushed out for a couple years. That'll support thermostats and robot vacuums and whatever else. But until that point comes, like I just don't see the point in going to this ecosystem just yet. And I hope that changes one day, because I think it does have the capability there, but it's not there, and it's not ready for prime time. And especially if a giant company like Amazon is worried to push it out to all their devices, it's kind of got to make you worry about the whole ecosystem in general, right?
Yeah. It's definitely a strange. I feel like the people who hyped up Matter weren't really familiar with the smart home enough. Like the people I heard, get all excited when they saw the Apple press release and like, oh, Apple and Amazon are working together. Were not. I mean, they were tech pundits, but they were not, and to this day are not really familiar with what actually happens in a smart home. They're the same people are discovering, oh, look at this device from Lutron, Caseta, it really works well. Magic, oh, stuff that we have been saying for years, it works really well, is suddenly news to them. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to get at here, but it to me, the people who had been through this before were like, okay, well, we'll wait and see. And it'd be great to see like a single platform developed so that many products can work and talk together, but it's all been tried before. And I feel like we in this industry, we kind of took a cautious approach to it. I mean, I can't tell you that there are any integrators that are excited about Matter. Like they don't care. They literally do not care that it exists, and they won't. Because they already have the platforms that do exactly what Matter is trying to do. And it already works with more than light bulbs, switches, and sensors, quite frankly. So it's great that Matter's getting there, but man, it feels like this is going to, like TJ, you just said, next year there's an update coming up. Why? Why is it going to take so long for this group to get together and support a couple of extra devices like garage doors that they probably should have had how was that missed? I don't know. But like, it's going to take a long time for these manufacturers to get together and agree on some kind of standard for these communications for these devices, the interfaces, how they set up and everything. And meanwhile, everybody else is just kind of like moving along and progressing along. So I don't know. I think speed is what's going to kill this thing, because, it's progressed at a snail's pace already, and for it to be like 3 devices thick on release date, still no cameras. What, door locks? No door locks, what I remember.
I mean, basically nothing. You have what, like door sensors and like relays or something, and that's pretty much it. Like, and that's not even a smart home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are just like little contacts that you can buy for anything at this point. So like, in my opinion, I think they would have been better off just waiting until they actually had a lot more devices to launch with, and then had all the manufacturers on board. It's like, hey, we're releasing this date. We want to have 300 devices ready to go, and we're going to support cameras and garage door openers and robot vacuums and all this stuff. And there's going to be an update later on that kind of adds more support. But like, in 2022, I should be able to pick up your system and use it with a lot of different device types. And you cannot do that with Matter at this time. And we might not see it for quite a while. If it took them 5 years to come out with this standard initially, like we might be looking at another 5 years for them to come out with like a decent update that actually does add more value. Especially once you add all these large companies in that kind of want to dictate how things are going. Like, it's only going to slow it down even more.
Yeah, I agree. And this is still an emerging market. I mean, it's almost like Matter is planned around a mature market that everyone wants to get into. And like, people are still experimenting with this like stuff. It's still early adopter. It's still not quite working as well as it should be, clearly. And if you're looking at the long view, it's like, okay, yeah, Matter makes sense, because it'll be like just the base way you get involved with you pick up and get involved with like some kind of home automation device. But like, moving forward, like if another company comes on with this cool like widget or light bulb or something, I don't know, that has a characteristic or a feature or something that is extremely popular but not supported by Matter, they're going to have to wait. Like, well, we can't be Matter supported because we're waiting for them to implement X, Y, and Z. I suspect you'll probably be able to control it in Matter, but not the way you think. It'll probably just like, oh, you can turn it on and off, but that's it, until they implement this whiz bang feature, that it is supposed to have. I'm thinking like maybe a fan, like fan control. It's probably not high on their list. Seems like it probably could be, but there's not many Matter. I haven't seen any Matter fan controllers out there.
Well, and I don't think Matter, obviously we'll have to wait to see how it actually plays out, but I don't think Matter is going to solve the problem of having several different apps to control everything in your house, right? Like you're going to have a hub that's Matter compatible, and you're going to have a Matter compatible device, and you're going to be able to see it. You're going to be able to, maybe control it, turn it on and off, that kind of thing. But you're probably still going to need the original manufacturer's app in order to do advanced things like change the time of access or, whatever it is that you have. You're probably always going to need that app as well. And I don't see that going away anytime soon. Maybe in 5+ years, once they kind of get everything ironed out and you're able to control more using whatever hub you want, maybe. But I don't see manufacturers giving up that app access because it gives them so much information about you and your device that it would, like, there's no point in it. Like, they're going to sell you a $30 Matter device and they want that information because that's how they're making part of their money.
I think, Seth, you hit the nail on the head when you said the integrators are not looking forward to this, right?
Well, they're just, they don't care about it. I'm not saying they look forward. It's not even on their radar because why?
Yeah, because everything, they could do so much more today and with the tools they have today than what Matter is bringing. And I think Matter is geared towards the DIY crowd, right? But even still, I'm not excited because it still won't be able to do what I do today in my space too. Like if I want to get my devices into HomeKit, for example, through my hub, it gets exported, through HomeBridge or whatever. I can get them into the Amazon Lady ecosystem. I get them into the Google ecosystem, right? Like I could do all this stuff today. So I'm still like, Matter to me is just being another standard, like how it's going to be like Z-Wave, Zigbee, whatever. Whereas in terms of my hub, I'll be bringing those devices in just as another one so they can interact with all the ecosystems. But it may open up a few more devices, but there's so many devices out right now. Like it's only a small subset that they're bringing in, and 50 or 90% of them are bulbs, it seems like at this point, right? So I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not really excited about it. I'm not going to jump on the Matter train, but I'm hoping by, in 3 years, maybe it will be the one standard that hopefully. I doubt it, but who knows?
No, I mean, this is good news for people that, that are the average consumer that just want to be able to buy a device and it works. Like this is a good thing for them in the long run. But I think we have a while to get there, and we already have devices that do this. If you go to a Z-Wave or Zigbee device, like for the most part, you can get anything you want in those kind of standards right there. And it has the local control. It has, all the kind of advantage that Matter has, but it actually exists and you can buy it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it all comes down to the speed of the way this industry moves very fast. And how long this is going to take to turn around a product update on software of all things. Like, and for a working group to meet, they're probably going to meet once a year, talk about, some proposals, come back later and vote on them 6 months. Like, oh man, it's going to slow stuff down so much. And like you said, TJ, they're not going to get rid of the apps. Those apps are like exactly why, they're just not like, that's how there's no firmware updates supported in Matter. So you're going to still need the original apps to go along with things. I'm seeing things popped up, but I can't read them fast enough. So I think Ty was saying something about them being basically geared towards the big 3 tech companies. So they have more cross-platform. No, I mean, yes, but that's the altruistic way of looking at it. The big reason is that they were running up against people who were saying, I'm not going to buy this stuff until it all kind of talks to each other. And I don't want to make a decision between buying an Amazon product, buying an Apple product, and buying a Google product. Like why, or a Samsung product. Like they should all just kind of work together. And this was an effort to make that happen. It sets up just like Apple's HomeKit stuff. So, and Apple has claimed that they contributed their code or something like that to this. And you look at it and it's like, okay, it's basically the same workflow. But it's the reason they're doing it is so the onboarding experience of a DIY, somebody in DIY is like, they just go to the store, they buy a dimmer or a switch or a wall socket thing, and they plug it in, and it doesn't matter what brain they have in the house running things, it's going to work with that stuff. So that's the goal. And I think they have made it. It's just, we're all kind of disappointed that there's not much more to it. And at the same time, I think it's just been hyped by the wrong people in the news industry, like as something that it was going to be, that it was never able to be, at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a combination of being hyped up too much and us just talking about it too long. If we were talking about it this,
okay, let's move on then.
I mean, but if we were talking about this like a year ago, we'd probably be a little more optimistic about it. But the fact that it took so long to come out with, and we're stuck with what we have now, it's not very appealing, And I'm even, it's funny. I get a lot of people ask me, it's like, oh, should I wait for the holiday season to buy smart home devices, or should I wait for Matter? And it's like, there's no point right now, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe in a year or two, you could make that argument. But right now, I don't see any point in buying Matter specific devices. Just buy whatever works best for you, whether that's Wi-Fi, Zigbee, or Z-Wave. And
the hype they generated with Matter, I think, was very hard to live up to. There was a lot of hype as this will be the thing that's going to save us all. And yeah, I don't think
they I will say that they did not communicate either, like what Matter was going to be. Everybody thought it was this grand plan to unify things, and turns out and there was just, it was kind of left open at that. And then they kept everything quiet, secret up until the very last moment where they like, oh, here's some sample code and the code for it, and here's the 190 devices. So it's kind of like the expectations were never set in the beginning. So of course everybody thought it was going to solve all the world's problems when it came to smart home automation.
Basically what I was going to say. So,
all right, well that's it for the news. It's a big downer this week.
Matter, doom and gloom.
Yeah,
but that's all right. I'm glad to see these articles coming out about it, because I felt like I've been like super negative about Matter. Even though like we kind of know what it is, we know what to expect and everything, but like it's just funny because all the news articles and media outlets have been hyping it up for so long, and now it's one of those things that like, yeah, well, maybe it's not that great, and it kind of validates what we've been talking about for a while now, because now it's not doom and gloom. It's like, oh, well, this is actually a reality.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like it's doom and gloom. I just feel like. You remember the sketch on like I forget what it was. It was a comedy show. It wasn't Saturday Night Live. But it was called Lowered Expectations. It was a dating thing, and it was this, I don't know, I'll put a link to it in the show notes. There's if you search on YouTube for Lowered Expectations dating, it's pretty much what I feel about this. Like, just we should have had lowered expectations and when going into this, because it wasn't, and I guess they had to hype it up, right? Because no one would care about this anyway.
Especially when you drag it on for 2 years, you have to keep hyping it up.
Yeah, they could have worked on this for 2 years, come out and said, okay, it's here, but we're not going to tell anybody. We're just going to like start putting this logo out on stuff, and everybody was really confused. So, yes, In Living Color, that was a great show. So many great comedians went through there.
That's a pretty good show.
The Wayans brothers, Jim Carrey. Oh man. The Dancers. It was a good show. All right. I think, was it? Yeah. Was it Mariah? No, Jennifer Lopez was one of the dancers.
She was one of the dancers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A massive amount of talent in that show. Anyway, moving on. All the links and one topic that we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/411. Lowered expectations. Nothing in the mailbag this week. We do have 2 picks of the weeks, and we're going to start with the first one with a screen that we can't afford. So this is over at CE Pro. This is the first $800,000 Samsung The Wall residential micro LED installation. We'll put a link to it in the show notes. You can go take a look at it. You want to know what an $800,000 TV looks like? Well, thanks to a company in Santa Monica, California, Just One Touch Video and Audio Center. Now you can see it. We've got a nice little picture of it. It's a 800. It's a 219-inch Samsung micro LED wall video TV thing. Comes in at $800,000 retail. That's roughly $3,700 per inch. Does look like a nice TV. It's got 0.84 millimeter pixel pitch, which is really small for a giant TV of that size. And it's got HDR 2000. And it took about 3 days for them to get this hung up on the wall. I wonder how many pull-ups they'd had to do to make sure that those brackets were on the wall just well. But I don't know. Seems like this company, I think this company did the first commercial one back in 2019. And the article here says that the pixel pitch basically makes the picture quality better, double the picture quality of the original version. So, $800,000.
I know the first thing you're buying when you win the Powerball, Seth.
Yeah, it's not going to be this. Definitely not going to be this.
I bet. I thought this would look good in your garage, to be honest. You'd have to build the garage a little bit bigger, I assume. But
this will be great for a secondary room in your new house after you win the Powerball.
It's true.
Secondary. Yeah. No, they're going to get the Vizio TV.
Just make sure if you get this, make sure you sign up for the service plan because they already had 3 service calls on it.
Yeah, 3 days to complete, and it's going to take a few more service calls. I don't know. Like, it looks nice. They did a really good job on the install, and it's got a nice picture of it there on CE Pro to take a look at. The space is nice, but man, I don't know. It seems like we talk about TV too high. I think this is one of those TV too high.
It seems like a way too small of a room for this size of screen, right? Like, I mean, you're looking at like the seating in the area, and you can tell where the walls end, and it does not look that big of a room for that TV.
Well, I guess you got to elevate your spot. You got to elevate your seats now when the screen starts to get a certain size.
I'm a little disappointed I didn't see like a Sonos Arc underneath it, you know?
Yeah. It does say that they had in-ceiling speakers for the audio or something. I'm not really sure what you would use for the audio,
so.
But I don't know. It's a very large screen, and I think there's only one couch in there, and you could actually watch it from. But I can't tell how far away it is from the screen. Like even that little round couch on the right hand side seems like it's. Well, actually, I can, right? Because those glass things are a standard size, aren't they? Like the door glass over there?
I have no idea.
1, 2, 3, 4,
it could
5.
be a whole custom.
It could be.
I mean, the only seat that looks like it'd be comfortable is the very right one. Like all the other ones, you're basically right on top of it. So
I'd say that room's only maybe 20 to 30, maybe 30 feet wide.
Yeah, it's not that big. I would expect to see this in like a conference area or like some big area.
That door is that's a standard door, right? So like that door has got to be 4 foot wide. So if you do the math on the glass panels and take into account like the right on, this is a 35 foot wide room, and man, that's rough.
My favorite part about this whole article, though, if you scroll down, it says, we had a client reach out to us who was initially interested in a much smaller size, large screen TV. We realized that this client can afford and would appreciate the new Samsung micro LED wall, where you could build it as large as you want. So they went from maybe like a 98-inch TV or something to a 219-inch TV, a $20,000 job, all the way up to an $800,000 job. So I feel like that's quite the upsell there. Whoever upsold that did a really good job.
Good job. Yep.
I know you're checking out this TV from Target for $600, but have you considered turning your whole house into a TV?
Yeah. It is advice down at the bottom. Stop worrying about the price.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Like a lot of people have a lot of money and will install just about anything.
Goes to show you.
They are. Oh, this is a video of them installing it, but it doesn't look like the same room. It looks like a different room. I don't know. It's not a very good video, but the picture looks nice. The space looks okay, but there's a giant TV in it. So if you ever want to go watch a Jumbotron at your friend's house for the game,
I think that's the first one
that
that you're looking at. Like the first one they installed or something. Yeah.
I don't know. There's a video down at the bottom. Yeah. I can't really figure out the what they were trying to.
Because they installed one in 2019, but I guess it's their second one or something.
Well, congrats, guys. It's fun. Here's a display, though, that we all can afford. And it is, TJ, I think you came up with this. It's the Keeb Monkey Display Bar.
You're welcome.
And this is...
Imagine the Mac Touch Bar, Mac Pro Touch Bar, but useful. So
it's much smaller. It comes in a couple of different flavors, 7.9 inch and 8.8 inch. And I think the 7.9 is $69 and the 8.8 with touchscreen is what, $100 or something like that. So there's different things you can get here.
Yeah. And honestly, like I literally have no reason to have this, but I still want it anyway. I don't know what I would use it for.
A much better price coming in at $11.25 per inch.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's got a little built-in kickstand. I mean, it reminds me of the first 4G smartphones that were coming out in America.
I like that you can get it with a touchscreen too. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, so you can buy the non-touchscreen or you can buy the touchscreen version. So
yeah, I wonder how many you'd need of these to tile them together and make the giant Samsung one.
219 inch.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. Probably better things to do with your money.
Not with that attitude. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you win the Powerball, then nothing's a waste of money. So
exactly, I could buy a Keeb Monkey.
You could buy Keeb Monkey, the whole company.
The whole company probably is. This is kind of cool. You could hook it up. They show a couple of use cases with it on the website, like putting it underneath your computer screen, or like the one that really trips me up is the one that's like right in front of the keyboard. I don't really get that one, like right in front of your touchpad on your computer.
Yeah,
but
not really. Honestly, it's one of those things I look at and I'm like, this would kind of be nice, but I don't know if I would ever be able to actually use it for anything useful.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it would show something stupid like a clock or something. And you can buy a clock for a lot less than $100. I can tell you that. Doesn't
have the best resolution either. But it's $69 or $99 depending on if you want it with a touch, big screen or small screen, or with the touch screen or without. So
yeah, 1920 by 480. So definitely not the best resolution, but I mean it's a wide bar. What do you expect?
All right, Gavin, you got anything on this one or no?
I see a use for it. Like I no, you know what? On my screens, especially at work, I have a lot of things that just sit here that I just need to keep on, the screen, and they take up real estate, right? So offloading them to that just for viewing, it gives me a lot of valuable real estate back. So I could throw something like that down at the bottom. I could see use for it.
Okay.
Well, buy one and let us know.
Yeah,
sure. I'll buy two after the Powerball tickets.
You have to have one for your normal computer, then you have to have one for the server downstairs.
Oh yes, of course.
That way, when you walk up to the server, you can just see useless stuff.
True.
Oh yeah, that's true. A dashboard for the server.
I mean, and that was one of the pictures that they had. It was like inside of a computer, and it would show you like the temperature of the computer, the fan speed, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if I would want to buy $100 display just to put inside my desktop, but I guess you could.
It would suck to open up the desktop to have to look at this stuff too, Like,
well, it had a clear case that on the side of it. It's what all the kids are doing these days. They're not doing the metal cases like
RGBs and Windows.
You got to look in and see your RGB fan spinning around.
That's right. If I can't see my fin spinning, I don't know if it's working.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right. Some big project updates. And pretty much the bulk of our show is, well, I don't know. Maybe just a couple minutes of the show. We talked about Matter.
You only left me with a little bit of time.
I know. Gavin's got some stuff to say.
We're such cramped for time. I mean...
All right. Well, Gavin, what have you been up to, man?
Yeah. So, I was talking to Ty, and Ty, is offering me, something to run Home Assistant on, and, it didn't go through, but I kind of got the push to get Home Assistant set up on the weekend, to actually finally check it out and see what all the hype was about with Home Assistant. So, I went through, downloaded a new VM, installed it on my Unraid server, booted it up, and instantly I just felt like I was cheating on my Habitat hub. It was I was so afraid. I turned the hub around so it couldn't see what I was doing, right? Because I felt so bad. But yeah, Home Assistant, I booted up. I haven't touched it in years. It's come a long way. Like I remember last time I booted it up, I was all YAML. Now it's a lot of graphical. It looks good. I have to admit, I'm seeing the hype. I'm seeing what people are talking about now. I'm still trying to get my head around it all. I read all the documentation, trying to figure out, it's a different world. So just trying to understand what world I'm in, and where things are and how they all relate to each other. I set up my presence. I set up the alarm system. But one thing I did do is I attached it to my Habitat hub. So all the devices in Habitat actually show up in Home Assistant. So I'm using Habitat for the antennas and everything like that. And then I can use Home Assistant for all the logic and everything. It works really well. The app is nice. Setting up the dashboards was really easy to do. I'm actually in shock, like I'm not doing a comparison. I've literally only sat with this for about 4 days. And I'm not going to say which one's better than the other. I see the strengths in both of them. Right. And I think I'm going to be using them together for a while.
One of us. One of us. One of us.
When someone gets a Tesla, that's all they talk about for weeks and months is their Tesla. I just got Home Assistant. Yeah, it's the same way. Right before the show, I told you guys, I just signed up for their forum. I have an account on their forum now, like there's so many. My next, I think this week I'm going to learn about developing, add-ons and whatever else in Home Assistant, and go from there. But it's nice. Certain things were just so much easier. Especially with creating the interface and the dashboards, and they look nice. The app is great. I was kind of shocked to see that they had a subscription service, because at first I was like, the subscription service for remote access, but then I just think you could do everything without the subscription service. This just makes it easier, as they'll handle all the back end stuff. So I did sign up for the trial, and if it works nice, then I'll just keep it, to give me remote access. But there's so much to this, and I'm still getting my feet wet, my hands dirty, and trying to figure it all out.
And Home Assistant is pretty much, I mean, they've kind of made themselves around that interface, that dashboard interface. From what I have gathered, like everybody talks about that and how clean it is and how easy it is to kind of like get everything set up the way you want.
Kinda. Well, one of the things is when I first started up, it went out and found all the devices in your home, right? And I was kind of like, it just hit me because it found a lot of devices in my home. And I was just like, no, I don't want to enable. I didn't know how it was going to break things. And then every device, it wanted you to go to that device and then, do this to that device. So I just ignored them all for now, and I'll just add them over time as I want. That was, you kind of got like hit with that at first. But that's fine. There's certain things like all this energy tab I can't get rid of. I'll never use that energy tab, but I know some people are big on that. But it takes some time getting used to it. The one thing I really like, I did this on Habitat as well, but when it came to presence detection, I always use two devices. I use geo presence, and I combine it with LAN presence, and then I just use logic in that. Somebody developed a plugin. I had to find this because I'd use ARP pings instead of regular pings, and somebody actually developed a plugin. It took me a while to get it working. I got it working, and now presence detection is like perfect in this. So now I'm happy with that too, right? So it knows, like within a minute of us leaving, it knows we're gone, and it automatically does everything. And it knows as soon as we drive like up to the street, it knows we're home, and it kicks in. So it's been great.
Yeah, I've kind of like looked at some of the integrations that people had made for it, and basically around like the cards that they had. I think you can just like add these cards through their interface, and there's like specific, like you gotta learn all the cards. And so this is like, I'm scrolling through them right now just to see how many. There's 259 Home Assistant cards. And then I think there's even more community cards from people who have taken them and developed them and put their own like images and all sorts of fun stuff into them, that to where you can basically make a completely custom interface inside of there to just do whatever you want. So it was I think it's overall a pretty good idea, especially that you can just like add on to it in this way. So
one of the most annoying things I found though is, when I first started looking just for information, how-to articles, videos, etc. I was watching them, going through them, only to realize a lot of that information is already out of date because this is constantly changing so fast. So they would be like, go into these YAMLs, go into this folder and stuff like that, right? And you only find out that you don't have to do that anymore. Things have changed. They're in different locations. A lot of things reference, the old location, I guess, where they used to sit. So you kind of had to translate to where the new location is. So that was a little annoying. I mean, I'm used to that with Unify, so
it's just kind of the same thing.
It's kind of the same thing, this is what they meant to say, so that was hard. Just finding the answer, when I was first trying to figure out, should I set it up in a Docker or a VM or, however else, there's multiple ways you can run it. Just trying to find an answer to that question was tough at first, right? Like, they throw all these terms at you and you're just like, I don't know what any of these mean. Like, should I run it in a Docker? And then eventually I found one guy that just says, no, run it in a VM because of this, and this. He broke it down. So that's why I ended up with a VM, but it's fast. It works great. Again, only 4 days with it. Next week, you'll probably hear another update from something else I did.
Interesting. I'll have to keep an eye on you. Well, I guess I'm the only one that hasn't installed Home Assistant on anything at this point in time.
What's your hub of choice?
I mean, I have the HomeKit stuff set up that I use most of the time, but it all ties into Control 4, which is the lighting in the house. So most of the time, if I'm using anything automation wise, it's done through. If it's easy, something simple, I'll use the stuff that's built into HomeKit because it's turn on this light at this time, turn it off at this time, that kind of thing. If it needs to be more advanced, I might switch over to and use the Control 4 stuff, especially if audio video stuff needs to be integrated along with it. It's a lot easier to do there. I don't know how much Home Assistant has in that respect, but it's probably a decent amount at this point. I mean, and probably would be fine with like Sonos and everything that I have here. So
yeah, I have some advanced automations and I wrote them in Habitat, their own apps and everything like that. And I guess for now I'll leave them running on Habitat because I haven't found yet a way to do that easily in Home Assistant. But again, I'm still learning. Maybe I don't know what their version of an app is. But I'm going to start reading developer docs and figure out what that stuff is. I like getting dirty in the code.
Oh boy, that's a show title for sure.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I have a couple of things that are integrated with Control 4. Like I have a video system that I use. I have a lot of like these RGB lights that we're working on. I have the stuff that I'm working on at work with. So it's kind of hard for me to say, oh yeah, I can't. I have to like move away from that and load Home Assistant, but it sounds like it could just be a dashboard over the top of everything anyway, just like I'm using HomeKit for. Like I'm using that for just a basic interface of the stuff I want to get to and interact with pretty quickly. And then it works fine remotely and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty happy with Home Assistant since I switched, so I don't think you'll have any problems, Gavin. It's learning a different system. And, it's just a little different, but I think if you've managed with Habitat, then you should have no problems with Home Assistant once you learn the ropes.
I'll figure it out. I just need time. It's only been like 4 days.
Well, and it's amazing how much stuff it works with out of the box that you don't have to do anything with. A lot of other systems you use, like you have to download different integrations or different drivers for it. Like it just like you said, it's amazing what Home Assistant found. I mean, it found my printers, it found my Sonos devices, like all this kind of random stuff that it's like, I don't even want to tie that in, but I guess I could.
Now I'm really curious as to what it would find in my house, since like I'm sure Sonos, like in the Sonos, the TVs, I'm sure. I'm curious as to what else it would.
Apple TVs. I mean,
yeah.
It misidentified a bunch of stuff. So like I got presented with a whole bunch of stuff, but just looking at it, I knew I didn't have that many Apple TVs. So it was picking up some other stuff. So that's why I just said, you know what? I'll just ignore them all for now and add them one by one when I'm ready.
It finds ubiquity as well. So, I mean, you can tie in the doorbell and stuff automatically. So.
Interesting. Well,
It's pretty nice for that feature alone.
yeah, that I have that integrated with Control 4, probably the same type of integration that it uses, and that's very nice to have, because then you can get the events pulled off of, somebody rings your doorbell, you can automate with it, which is what you should be able to do with any doorbell. So, cool. We'll have to keep an eye. TJ, you have a note in here that which one is this? The hub that we talked about a couple weeks ago, the Claude Pi is up for pre-order. This is the Home Assistant one, right?
Yeah, so it's one of the ones that I think we talked about it maybe a month ago. But it's just Home Assistant. I don't know if they're working with third-party companies or third-party companies are just making it happen. But this is a third-party hub. It basically comes with Zigbee, Thread, Matter, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi already built into it. It's kind of weird that it's missing Z-Wave, to be honest. But basically, you buy the hub. It looks like a hub, which is kind of the nice advantage of it. And you just put a Raspberry Pi in there, and you're good to go. So I think we talked about a month ago. They just announced it, but they just opened up pre-orders for it. So they said they're going to be shipping by Christmas this year. We'll find out. And it's $200, and you still have to buy the Raspberry Pi, as far as I know. Or maybe it comes with the Raspberry Pi, actually.
These days, the hardest part is finding a Raspberry Pi.
It looks like this one for the $199 actually comes with the Raspberry Pi, which is probably worth it at that point, right? Like $200 for a hub with all the built-in technologies isn't bad. And just like Gavin said, the hardest part right now is finding the Raspberry Pi. You can buy a Home Assistant Yellow or anything else, but you're probably not going to be able to find the Raspberry Pi brand new. So at least this one, you don't have to worry about it.
I recently ordered a Pi KVM thing. Well, recently, it probably took a month to get here, but I ordered it with the Pi installed because I didn't have any faith in me finding one. So I guess whatever methods they have to find whatever they needed. It's the CM4. It's like a little card one that you slide in. And it's like, it's nice. It's one that's built into a PCIe. Is that it? PCIe card? Yeah. So it can exist inside your computer and be a KVM and all that kind of stuff, which I frequently use to reboot my computer since it wants to freeze up all the time. So
yeah, and that's what this one is using, is the CM4. I think that's what the Home Assistant Yellow uses as well, if I remember correctly. So that's a pretty popular one.
It's a good form factor. So I have been seeing it pop up more and more in projects that are like more mature and everything. Greg says, let me know what you think about the Pi KVM. It's actually really nice. Like it's an all-in-one solution. I can open it up and just get into a shell and be inside the computer from wherever. So kind of cool. It's got little tie-ins on it to like a menu on it. It says press reset button and it reboots, shut down computer, and it runs off PoE. So as long as my PoE switch is online and that little Raspberry Pi can stay online, then the KVM's online. That's pretty cool. It's kind of cool. So yeah.
The only Raspberry Pi I've been able to find for the past 2 years is the Raspberry Pi keyboard, which is a Raspberry Pi built into a keyboard. I think it's like $80 or $90. They're pretty good for like a standalone solution. Like if you need like a digital signage computer, something like that. But obviously, it's the size of a keyboard, so you're not gonna be able to fit it into a smaller space or put it into a lot of projects. So
not a good project. The CM4 is definitely, I mean, you just look at it, it doesn't have anything on it. It's just like a little card that slides into a slot on a board most of the time. So it's definitely made for projects like what we're talking about. Yeah, good stuff. Well, I have an update on my mower saga. I have been working. I finally got my outlet. My outlet's installed outside, so got that done. And the next thing I have to do is run the wire around. But since I've been delayed so long in doing all this, the grass continues to grow. So I had to start mowing it. And when I mowed it, my big lawnmower, the one with like the big cutting deck and everything, just decided to overheat and blow up. So now I have I have a push mower, but I don't want to mow my lawn with that. So I'm kind of stuck now. And I tried to make a perimeter, like a run around the whole thing of mowed grass where I'd be able to like put the little boundary wire down. So I think I got that done. So we'll see. We'll see.
Do you think we'll get the mower up and going this year?
It's not going to be this week because a hurricane's coming through again. So it'd be great if nature could just cooperate. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe by December sometime I'll be able to run a stupid wire all the way around my property. And I mean, how hard can that be? But now that the power's there, I really don't think there are too many more obstacles other than just getting that wire put in where it needs to go and like moving rocks and stuff out of the way that it will bump into. Other than that, I think it's pretty much ready. So
it's not ready until you build your custom garage for it, though. I mean,
yeah, that looks cute. I where I put it, it's on next to a wall, and I think I can put like a little cover to kind of like cover out a little bit, but I don't know. I did like the ones where they pulled in, and when they pulled in, it just kind of like turned into a little garage, or the garage door would shut. It was cute. So to step up my woodworking skills to do something like that, though. Maybe I can just order something like it on Etsy or something. Like somebody's got to be in the business of making robot lawnmower garages.
That's a new
Seems
website
like
for you.
Yeah.
Robot lawn,
exactly.
Robotlawn.garages.com.
Yeah. Robotmowergarages.com. There we go. I'm sure it's a great idea, but not something I'm capable of doing. So anyway, anything else, guys? Any more projects on the horizon?
I think that's it. I mean, I haven't really been doing too many projects recently. Been doing some traveling. That's been nice, but
all right. Well, we want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support for HomeTech for as little as $1 a month and get a trip to Cedia if I win the Powerball. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a trip to Cedia and a shout out on the show. But every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, the Hub, where you and other supporters can gather every day and talk about all sorts of fun stuff, including the demise of matter, which I saw those going through earlier today. Kind of chuckled. If you want to help out the show but can't support the show financially, I totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star rating in iTunes, our positive rating in the podcast of your choice, podcast app of your choice. That really helps people find the show, and we like good ratings. If you like the show, give us a good rating. Appreciate it. That wraps up all of the home tech news this week. Everybody, have a great weekend.
Take care.